The first thing, actually, I want to talk about, which is on my notes, is the Jaguar I-Pace Trophy, because obviously, Ed, that was sort of, the first sort of, sort of departure from COVID-19, the sort of fallout of it. Basically, the series said that it's just not sustainable anymore for us to carry on with the economic climate as it is.
Yeah, I mean, we already had, I guess, Audi leaving the DTM to focus on other things like Formula E, and now we've had the JIPC Trophy unfortunately fold, so they won't be able to, I think, did they say they won't be able to continue after this season, or are they just flat out saying it's stopping with immediate effect?
They are stopping at the end of this season, so they will race this season. But yeah, and going into next season, no more I-Pace Trophy.
It depends if they can organise with the if there are any rescheduled rounds to finish off season six, whether they can organise an e-trophy race as well. We'll see. But yeah, it's a little sad. I think it was nice to have a support race, but at the same time, I think there was some serious issues because I was reading up. It was like for a single car entry, it was £650,000, which is frankly exorbitant. And I can see why. Like in the first season of the I-Pace Trophy last season, they had TWR Techeetah, who had a one-car entry when they were able to do like half a season before basically really, right, this is too expensive and it's not really worth us doing. So they pulled out, unfortunately. And so it seems like the only teams that were able to enter were really rich ones, like, I don't know, the Saudi Arabia team or the Brazil or China teams.
I'm surprised it was that expensive, actually. Like, I didn't know it was that expensive until the race said it was that expensive. Jack, because, let's think about it. It's a support series. It's not a main series. It's not a main championship. All the cars are pretty much the same. They didn't get much airtime. The races were only like 25 minutes long, qualifying like 10 minutes. Like, it wasn't long at all that they were out on track. So for, 650,000 for very little running, I thought was extremely expensive.
Yeah, no, this is the first I've heard of the 650 figure. Yeah, that sounds quite a bit. I mean, yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't have been that expensive because Formula E already already do the main races, and so yeah, I would have expected it to be a lot cheaper. And I'm pretty sure that a Jaguar I-Pace is not 650,000. I mean, like, obviously the cost of the car will come in heavily to it, but I wouldn't have thought it would be 650,000. Because even though electric cars are quite expensive, I would have expected a Jaguar I-Pace to be maybe about 100 grand, 120. So I'm not sure where they're adding the extra 500k from, but no, but yeah, no, it is going to be a disappointment to not have it, but I'm sure there will be another series that will now run alongside Formula E. So yeah, I'm excited to see that come along, maybe season 7, season 8.
The thing is, will it be a disappointment? Because I'm gonna be honest, Ed, it wasn't great. Like, the cars were so big. Like, it was a great initiative by Jaguar. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't. It was a great initiative to obviously have the support series, and I think it did a job. Why it was that expensive? I don't know. Obviously, yeah, they need to make money, but that seemed like a big making money tax on teams there by adding like potentially like an extra 400 grand onto the cost, because as you said, like the Jaguar I-Pace car isn't that much, and it is basically the default Jaguar I-Pace car. Then obviously you've got to modify it to make it be a race car with like the roll hoops and so forth. But in terms of the racing, Ed, it was poor. Like, there was hardly any overtaking. There was next to no sound. Like, I know we shouldn't be one for complaining about sound, but like the I-Pace were quieter than you didn't even hear them go past. If you had your eyes shut, you wouldn't even know they went past.
Yeah, and I think you could tell as well that the crowds were definitely thinned out compared to actual Formula E races when you saw the I-Pace races were happening. Uh, I think also the fact there was only 12 cars and they decided to split the grid into like two classes, don't they? Because they had like a class and a B class for like some of the slower drivers, unfortunately, or there's other ones, or like the guest driver that they had. To be fair, I think they used the guest driver spot fairly well. There was what was his name? There was like a Japanese driver who I think was disabled, and he basically a guy called Takuma Aoki. That's his name, and he was driving a modified I-Pace to sort of get around the sort of disability that he had. And so I thought that was cool. They were able to get some interesting guest stars in, and of course they had Rima Jafali, who's the first female Saudi Arabia driver to race, at home in Saudi Arabia, which I guess is a big milestone for them. But yeah, you're right. I think the field, because the entry was so exorbitant, they only had a grid of 12 cars, and with 12 cars, you're not really going to have as good a racing, I think, as you would have hoped.